Greetings. This is Dr. Jimmy, I think. After all, I can't see myself, and I don't think you can either. Maybe this will help. That's a bit scary. Maybe not a good idea at all. Well, let me get a bit closer. Hello, there I am. Oh, it's even scarier. Never mind, go back in the dark. Today's t-shirt of the day, though, let's show it off. Yes, it's a Resident Evil Umbrella Corporation logo. There we are. Now we know where we are. Well, this is the lovely day of August 16th, 2016. It is a Tuesday, and it's a most significant day. Maybe I can help with the lighting a little bit. Just a tad. I don't know if that will do any good at all. It's so bright out. Oh, you can see me a little bit. That's better. It's so bright outside. So freaking bright. And it's almost impossible to know, to make me out in the contrast. But, you know, and this spotlight thing looks like something scary in one of those old houses that had the helmet heads back in the old days when they worked. Well, what were we talking about today? Oh, yes. Today is August 16th. You know what that means? According to my calendar, and it's usually right, it's one fricking month of Horror Nights. That is for those of us here in the United States of America. America. Yes, here it is. In America, it is 1 month, 31 days, till September 16th, when Halloween Horror Nights will begin first in Orlando, because, of course, we're 3 hours ahead. We start around 6 Eastern Daylight Time, and then at Pacific Daylight Time, which will be about 9 in Orlando, they'll start Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood as well. Oh goody. The lucky bastards in Japan get Horror Nights a whole week earlier. So they've actually, well, what would it be for them? I think it would be for them something like 3 weeks and 3 days. That's 24 days, isn't it? Is that right? I think that's right. Yeah, that's right. So that's when they get theirs, earlier than the rest of us. But that's all right. They don't get American Horror Story. That's what we found out today. American Horror Story here in America, yeah. We're getting that at both coasts. And apparently it's a very similar house, and it has to be, I think, because of the contracts they have with FX, and of course the very wonderful people of Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk. We must give them all sorts of credit and praise and everything, because I understand they're a tad difficult to work with sometimes. Yes, American Horror Story is finally coming to Halloween Horror Nights. And I say finally, because the first time I heard we're getting American Horror Story, the first time I heard that was not that long ago. It was 2013. 2013. I'd heard American Horror Story House was coming. Oh, wonderful. Which one would it be? Would it be Murder House or Asylum? It could have been either one. I wasn't sure. And which one was it? Which one was it? Neither, because it didn't happen. The deal fell through, apparently. There's all sorts of different stories about why it fell through. It was Fox didn't want to share. The Walking Dead had totally taken over the park that year. Or maybe it was AMC saying, hey man, we don't want anyone else here while we're doing all our Walking Dead here. Yeah, it's all Walking Dead, no one else, no other TV shows. I don't know what the truth is. It's also, you know, understandable that it's been said that Murphy and Falchuk are very, very, very possessive of that property. They don't want it to be done wrong, and they just weren't satisfied with any conditions that year. That could be it. Don't know. It might even be FX, because Fox has often been difficult to work with in the past as well. Whatever the case may be, they were not able to do the house that year. And instead, they did an Evil Dead house. They'd actually planned we're going to put it in a certain place. It didn't happen. They had to do Evil Dead instead. Well, the following year, they still wanted to do American Horror Story, but they weren't going to be so bold as to put it right on the list of things they were doing until they could get that deal. And the deal couldn't be done, so they weren't able to do it at Halloween Horror Nights 24, and they tried again apparently last year. Every single year they've been working, negotiating, seeing if they could convince those people over there in at FX. Well, it might have had something to do with The Walking Dead, although there's a Walking Dead house in Orlando this year. In Hollywood there is not. Hollywood has stopped doing any Walking Dead houses for any future horror nights. They've become redundant this year because they opened on July 4th, a Walking Dead permanent attraction. So this is an attraction at the park. It's a ride. Well, it's not really, but it's still, it's not going to be one of the official haunted mazes. It won't, although it will be open during the event and probably spotlighted in some way. It won't be, it's something you can go to all year round. You can go there right now. If you can get to California right now, you could go do the Walking Dead permanent attraction. It's quite good. And I've been hearing rumors, whispers, that it's doing so well. They're thinking, don't know for sure, they're thinking about maybe bringing it over or something, or maybe even a bigger, better version to Florida as well. I really hope that's true. If they do manage to bring it to Florida, you know what that means? It means we don't have to have any more Walking Dead houses in Orlando after this year. Ooh, that would make things so much better for the situation with the other television show that they wanted to do for so long. But whatever the reason might be, this year they finally got the green light. And they were able to do American Horror Story. And I'm sure there's a list of conditions, a list of things they had to do to ensure they do it in the way that Mr. Murphy and Mr. Fauchuk insist upon. Nevertheless, I'm certain the houses are going to be amazing. Now, there have been all sorts of rumors about this house. It's going to have all 6 seasons. It's the reason they're announcing season 6 on the 14th of September, the same night as employee preview, is because it'll be what the house is. That kind of stuff. No, 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 no. They're keeping that season so effing secret right now. There's no way they would tell anybody working at Horror Nights, and at both coasts especially, what it was going to entail. Look, you and I both know so much information leaks from Universal when they're making Horror Nights that we tend to hear what's happening before it's happening, even when I don't want to. And if the stuff gets leaked to somebody, and then they post it on their blog, and it's for the whole world to see. I mean, you know there's all sorts of blogs that love getting the stuff in advance, from HHN Rumors to HHN Unofficial. They all want to find out what's happening beforehand through whatever sources they can, and the moment they hear anything juicy, they post it, sometimes without even verifying it, but that's, oh well. That's why they say this could be, maybe. Sometimes they get the right information, and a lot of the stuff gets leaked way too early, and I'm trying to prevent that myself from being responsible for that anymore, because I don't do cryptic. That's one of the reasons. But it still gets out no matter, but maybe not as early as it did in previous years, so at least I have done some good, I think. We didn't know the whole damn thing in April. It was May or June when it finally all got, most of it got out, but oh well. But American Horror Story, my goody goodness. Yes. What they're going to do for the house and the maze is it will only be 3 of the seasons out of the 5 that have already aired. But of course, the wonderful thing about American Horror Story is every season is completely different. It's not like The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, you know, it's zombies every year. And it's zombie, 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 all the time. It's like the zombie TV network. God damn it. Oh, don't give them ideas. There might be one if I keep saying things like that. No, this is completely different. Every year is a different story. Some of the same cast show up, but they're playing different characters and things. And only recently has a little bit of crossover been seen from season to season, but not much. And most is a self-contained story in a very different times and locations. You know, Murder House was contemporary in Southern California, with a haunted house full of spooky ghosts. The one that was in the second season, Asylum, was set in Massachusetts several years in the past. Was it like the 50s or 60s? I don't know what year it was. It was a few years. I think maybe it was the 1970s or something. Whenever it took place there. The next one, Coven, was more contemporary, but in Louisiana. And then, of course, Freakshow was also a flashback to years in the past, I think the 50s or 60s, because it took place before the events of Asylum, shortly before, because one of the characters from the Freakshow goes to the Asylum eventually. So, and in Florida, you see. And the most recent one, Hotel, was in contemporary times, but in California again, and a hotel there. So you jump around in different parts of the country, and you jump around different times in American history. So you don't know exactly when or where in the country you're going to be for each American horror story. Who knows where season 6 will take us? The teasers have been all over the map. They can't all be right. In fact, Falchuk and Murphy have said those teasers have nothing to do with the season at all. They're just little horror tropes that are fun to play with and tease you, but it doesn't mean it's going to be about a cannibal family with chainsaws or millipedes crawling on people's heads or a demon baby sort of. They had that in the first season. Or what was the one, the thing with the shadow, or the creature from the Black Lagoon making out with a co-ed, whatever there was in all of these wacky previews, those teaser videos that are quite delightful and entertaining, very short ones. We don't know if they have anything to do with the show at all, and they probably don't. Just to tease what 6 will be with the question mark 6. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about 3 seasons of the show. The first season, which wasn't actually given a name when they first broadcast it, but is now known as Murder House. It's set in California, and we have a nice family gets a house, but it's had a bad history. All sorts of people been killed in the house, and anyone who dies in that house, their ghost will haunt it forever. So we have all sorts of spectral things, references to the Columbine shootings, references to the tragic story of the Black Dahlia, a girl named Betty Short, who got cut in half by somebody. We don't know who, but I have my suspicions. Probably her crummy ex-boyfriend, but maybe not. We don't know. And then the TV show was an evil doctor. An evil doctor's ghost is in the basement. All sorts of weird things, and even the upcoming birth of the Antichrist. All of that was in the first season. The second season was Asylum, and the third season was Coven, but we aren't going to discern those. We're saving those for later, perhaps. The fourth season is the one that'll be in the house. It's called Freakshow. It's set right in Florida, in Jupiter, Florida, down in South Florida, which in South Florida, carnivals, in the old days when there were lots of sideshows, not so much anymore, but you always used to winter here. And in fact, the whole community of former sideshow, carnival performers and freaks formed their own little town down in South Florida, and there's a community that actually still live there to this day. But in this one, it's near Jupiter, where this carnival is set up, and they have a lot of trouble with the townies, and the freaks are rather freakish, including a girl with 2 heads. I mean, actual 2 heads, not a fake at all. Bearded ladies and Lobster Boy, all sorts of interesting characters, and a very strange ring mistress named Elsa Mars, who has an interesting history and a secret of her own. And it gets into all sorts of weird stuff as well. Serial killers of all sorts, several different crazed killers, from one played by Neil Patrick Harris, a mad magician who's going to do an illusion cutting a girl in half, and he actually cuts her in half, but he can't put it back together because he actually cut her in half. Uh-oh, fucked up. We have Twisty the Clown, an evil clown, yes, quite horrific evil clown, who's not anywhere near as bad as the really demented, but pretty and just plain gorgeous Dandy Mott, but he's out of his freaking mind. Madness is a big part of Freakshow. So who are the real freaks? Those that are freaky on the outside, or those who are twisted to grotesque proportions only inside in their heart, mind and soul, while their outer proportions may look absolutely stunning and pretty and beautiful. Yes, that could be it. And there's also a really nifty Halloween theme about why freaks don't perform on Halloween, because you summon the actual spirit of a real two-faced man from Victorian times, and his spirit will come and take you into his hellish domain, where freaks will perform in the strange afterlife forever, a ghostly apparition. So the supernatural appeared in the show as well. All quite amazing. What about, yes, one more season. The most recently aired season, Season 5, Hotel, set in the Hotel Cortez, which has the same sort of curse that the murder house had. So anyone who dies in that hotel will haunt that hotel for all eternity. They could leave the hotel, interestingly enough, and come back in, but they kind of have to stay there. They can't leave very long. Maybe that's not right. Other ghosts can come into the hotel on certain happy occasions like Halloween, such as all the notorious serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer and Ed Bundy and Ted Bundy, and what was the other one? John Wayne Gacy. What was the fellow? Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Wernos, the female, the most famous female serial killer from right here in Florida, actually. All these killers can show up and have a party every Halloween, apparently. But if you die in the hotel or on the property, you're stuck there for eternity. And there's all sorts of interesting people, because also in the hotel is a bunch of vampires who just happen to be living at the hotel as well. And it gets into other weird, twisted areas as well. You know, everything, all sorts of old Hollywood stuff from the old days of Valentino, from exploitation films, you know, blaxploitation films of the 70s. All of it sort of coalesces into this weird Hollywood, you know, modern day transgender characters, all sorts of things in this one crazy whacked out hotel of the damned. So it's a fun thing. And there's a demon in there too, a sinister demon. You've seen in the video, the promo video. I'm surprised, because that's the addiction demon. And what he does basically is he ass rapes you with this enormous electrical drill. That's his penis is an electrical drill. I rather don't think we'll see any of the actual ass raping in the house. I don't think that extreme house or no extreme house, and this isn't the extreme one, that's the repository. But if you had an extreme, that's just an extreme, I don't think they're ever going to visit in Orlando or Hollywood for Universal. Maybe in Japan. Maybe. I don't think that might be too extreme even for them. But but here, that would never happen. But you might see him, even if you don't see the drill going round and round in any of the actual activities he's engaged in, because they did show him in the video for some reason. Maybe just because he's creepy. I don't know. So all of that wonderful stuff, all those 3 seasons, will be presented in the house, and it will be a so-called Uber house, and that means when you get in the house, you can take it. It'll drive you around wherever you want to go. No, Lyft. No. It's Uber as in Übermensch. Ja, das in Deutschland is Uber above. You know, Superman. It's a super house. It's a mega house. It's the biggest house of the year. I don't know if it's the biggest house of all time, but certainly is bigger than any house this year. And they've sort of started doing plus-size houses in 2014 with that third Walking Dead house, End of the Line, and last year's Jack Presents 25 Years of Monsters of Mayhem, a bit bigger than usual. Actually, that would have been even bigger if they had the last 2 scenes that they had to budget forced them to cut out, which would have featured the usher and the director, I understand. But that's a story for another time. Getting back to this one, it's going to be huge. They're going to put 3 seasons that way, and only doing 3, then they can do several rooms for each, maybe 5 rooms for each season. They could have like 15 rooms, something like that. But I know it's going to be big, at least 14 or 15 rooms featuring all the seasons, well, all 3 of these seasons. Visit the Murder House, the Freak Show, and Hotel, and all sorts of lovely sets can be done from those particular. You know, think about the house itself, all the attic, the basement, all the creepy things that were there. Think about the Freak Show and that clown entrance, that demon entrance, and the tent and the sideshow and the creepy things. Think about in the hotel. My goodness, wonderful sets they can design. All the weird secret rooms and sinister places in that structure. So it'll be very, very wonderful house. Now, since they're only doing those 3 seasons this year, that means they're not touching Asylum or Coven, the 2nd and 3rd seasons. And I suspect that if they're going to do a good contract with Murphy and Falchuk, and The Walking Dead will probably be going away from now on, at least in Hollywood and hopefully in Orlando too, then they could replace it and do American Horror Story houses from year to year, but it wouldn't be quite as bad because it changes every time and it would never be the same house. And they could do another huge house next year containing 3 seasons, but it wouldn't be any of the 3 they're doing this year. They could have Asylum, and oh, can you imagine? Asylum and Coven, and of course, season ?6, the mysterious season that is being teased to death, but we don't know anything about what the fuck it is, although it may have something to do with the lost colony of Roanoke, of all things, because there's been something seen of the carving on the tree, but that could just be a flippant reference. There are a lot of flippant references in American Horror Story that don't necessarily deal with the theme of the overall show. But I heard Jeff Goldblum on an episode of Kimmy Schmidt say that the next American Horror Story is going to be Ghost Bus. Oh dear. But that was just a gag. So, next year we could have those 3 seasons. And then after that, if they want to do it again, well, all they have to do is do a smaller house based on whatever the most recent season was. You know, we could see season 7 as a house in 2018, for example, if it ever becomes season 7. If the season, you never know, American Horror Story may not continue after this show, and if it doesn't, well, then we'll have done all of them in these 2 houses, and that will be sufficient. Again, that's speculation on my part. I don't know if we'll have a house next year, but I hope we do, and I hope it does cover the 3 seasons that aren't being covered this year. Well then, we have all the houses for Horror Nights Plus, the repository, and all the scare zones, and the shows. All we have left in Orlando to find out about are the roaming hordes. Don't know what they are yet, but they probably involve chainsaws. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Yes, chainsaws of some sort, I'm sure. Hollywood, they have left to reveal whatever their shows are going to be. Probably some kind of dance show, but we don't know yet. Jabberwockies, probably, and something else, maybe, I hope, something, dare I say, excellent. I don't know, but, and of course the Terror Tram, which will feature some kind of entity. Anyway, so there's still a little bit left to find out about, and we have 31 days. So, let's all get ready. The time is coming. Ooh, I hear thunder. That's a good sign for me to shut this off before my computer explodes. Till later, have a wonderful American Horror Story of your own.